The Holy Gospel according to John. Pilate entered the headquarters again, summoned Jesus and asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus answered, "Do you ask this on your own, or did others tell you about me?" Pilate replied, "I am not a Jew, am I? Your own nation and the chief priests have handed you over to me. What have you done?" Jesus answered, "My kingdom is not from this world. If my kingdom were from this world, my followers would be fighting to keep me from being handed over to the Jews. But as it is, my kingdom is not from here." Pilate asked him, "So you are a king?" Jesus answered, "You say that I am a king. For this I was born, and for this I came into the world, to testify to the truth. Everyone who belongs to the truth listens to my voice." The Gospel of the Lord. Please be seated. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. Amen. So it's all in the translation. Again. It's always in the translation. My kingdom is not from here. My kingdom is not of this world. That's a sort of tidying up of the Greek. What the Greek actually says is, my kingdom does not belong here. And that's a loaded word, isn't it? Belong. Everyone has, I think, within themselves, a yearning to belong. When we find a way of belonging, it stays with us forever. I was at university for 4 years, and Amy will tell you, I can't shut up about the place. I think St Andrews in Scotland, home of golf, didn't play, but home of golf, I think it's an incredible place, and it's gone deep into my psyche. 4 years out of all these years, yet it stays with me, because in that quiet little medieval Scottish town, I found a sense of belonging. I know many people who served only 2 or 3 years in the Marine Corps, but once a Marine, always a Marine. And I remember that t-shirt or the keyring you used to be able to buy. You can take the boy out of New York, but you can't take New York out of the boy. It's true. You can add Chicago or Waukegan or wherever you want to that. That place that we grew up in, found our feet in, learned how to be a man and a woman in, learned what it meant to be a person in. We may never go back. We might never have been back for 40 years, but that place of our birth and childhood, where we first found a sense of belonging, goes deep into our hearts. So much so that even if we fool ourselves into thinking that we are rugged individuals, you scratch the surface and you find out that we have a deep yearning to belong. Because there is also something deep in the human psyche that yearns for community. The time of Jesus, the ancient Mediterranean, the ancient Near East, and for a long time afterwards, knew nothing about individualism. It didn't compute, it didn't make sense. You were part of a family, or a tribe, or a clan. And your sense of self-understanding, where you came from, where you were going, and who you were, was informed by the community that molded you, by a deep connection to your ancestors. So much so that your name carried great meaning. The profession of your family, who you were, was revealed to you, not in splendid isolation, but surrounded by others. When Jesus says he is king, we can easily get the wrong end of the stick. That may be why he is so reluctant to claim that title. He never says no. You know that? Bless you. He never says no. But he doesn't seem terribly keen on proclaiming himself as king. So easily misunderstood, you know. Pilate misunderstands. Out of all the Gospels, it's only John's Gospel that has this deep to and fro with Jesus and Pilate. It tells us a lot about both men. You can tell by the questions that Pilate is nervous. Are you the king of the Jews? That's a political question. Pilate, ever the politician, ever the Roman occupying governor, is always on the scent of any whiff of insurrection. It's an insurrectionist question. Are you the king of the Jews, and are you going to cause me trouble? Am I going to have to put the soldiers in the streets? In this tinderbox of Jerusalem in the Passover, are you going to create the spark that sets this whole place on fire? And Jesus says, no. You can almost sense Pilate saying, okay then, this is just a run-of-the-mill, criminal, religious question. This guy isn't a threat to me. Of course, we know that Jesus is king, but he's not an insurrectionist king. We know that Jesus is a king who will prove to be a threat, not to Pilate and the status quo and equilibrium in Jerusalem. Jesus will pose a threat to every king, every queen, every emperor, every governor, and every ruler on the face of God's earth from that time on and forevermore. We can only smile at Pilate when he says, that's okay then. No, it's not okay. Jesus' insurrection, if you want to call it that, comes from his love. Comes from the fact that he is king, but geographical areas don't count. The happenstance of your birth that makes you American and me British and you German and you Swedish and you Norwegian, that happenstance of birth doesn't matter a jot to Jesus. His kingdom knows no borders, no boundaries, no allegiances to any of the powers of this world. It is that radical. You get a sense of that radicalness when you hear the song of his mother. I've repeated it so often here, I'm embarrassed. So just look up the Song of Mary, the Magnificat, the one that starts, "My soul doth magnify the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Saviour." And look at the checklist that the Blessed Virgin goes through of the way that the powers of this world will be turned upside down because of her Son. So that's the threat that Jesus poses. But it's lost to Pilate because Jesus tells some truths that Pilate doesn't understand, which is understandable because Pilate doesn't even understand what truth is. We don't see it in this reading, but the very next verse, where this one leaves off at verse 37. Verse 38 is when Pilate utters the immortal words to Jesus, "What is truth?" So Pilate doesn't recognize the truth that Jesus is speaking to him. My kingdom does not belong to this world. It seems like it does, doesn't it? Jesus is talking about the kingdom of God is at hand. But St. Augustine nailed it on the head. St. Augustine said, The kingdom of this world will reign in this world forever until the end of time. But the kingdom of God in this world is a pilgrim. The kingdom of God in this world is a pilgrim. Because this world does not understand the kingship of Jesus and the power, radicalness, breadth, scope, depth of the kingdom of God which Jesus proclaims. But he is king. And you know that word that we translate as followers? That's kind of tidied up a wee bit. I've got to be honest with you. That's made a little cleaner than the Greek really has it. If I was king, my followers would be, except that Greek word also talks about not followers but subjects. Now here's where Americans get really a little bit anxious. Kings, oh I don't know, let's call him George. Kings and subjects and freedom and truth and liberty. It makes folks from countries that don't have kings a little bit nervous. King and subject. That's because earthly kingdoms have boundaries and rules and regulations. Rules about birth and citizenship. Happen to be born there? Tough. You're a subject. You've got a king. Have fun. That makes us uneasy. But remember a few minutes ago, I talked about Jesus' kingdom not dependent on happenstance of birth. So he is king and he has subjects, but they are willing subjects. Not subjects because of birth, not subjects because of naturalization, not subjects because their parents told them so, not subjects without a will of their own. Oh, we have a will because we are not subjects until something profound happens. We are not subjects until we accept the truth. The truth is who Jesus is. It's his deeds, his teaching, his proclamation. And the ultimate proclamation will come soon in John's Gospel, on the cross. The most profound, the pinnacle of Jesus' testimony to himself as God's truth. There, naked, dying. God's love and grace is itself laid bare for all the world to see. And when we allow the truth to seep into our hearts and into our lives, then we have made a choice. We have declared our allegiance. And it's not to the powers and principalities of this world. It's to the one King who is Jesus Christ, who sits upon the throne and whose subjects love, obey, serve, and find their life in that king-subject relationship. And it's there where we find our belonging. That belonging that the heart has from birth, that longing to be loved and accepted and affirmed and saved from oneself and built up, to be lifted up out of the dirt and be dusted down again and again as we set off on life's journey again and again. That yearning to have kinship, that sense of belonging is found ultimately at the feet of Christ the King. And just as I said, it is in community in the ancient Near East that people discovered where they'd come from and where they were going and who they were. That's what we find in that belonging at the foot of the King. We belong. We give him our allegiance. And then at this time of the year, as we transition from the end of one Christian year into another, and the year begins again with us for Advent, when we prepare for the coming of the Christ child. I know it's a schmaltzy way to end a sermon. Not even sure if I'm pronouncing the guy's name right. Robert Lew, who wrote an anthem that gets sung in Lutheran churches all over the place. Am I pronouncing that right, Michael? You think, is it close enough? Close. Good enough for government work. The anthem asks us, is your heart prepared for a king? I can't think of a better question to leave you with. On Christ the King Sunday, moving into Advent, anticipating the coming of the Christ child at Christmas, to ask if we together can spend the next few weeks, whether we steer clear of Christmas carols or slip a few in under the wire, just for the fun of it, to ask ourselves the question we eternally ask ourselves at this most wonderful time of the year. Is your heart prepared for a king?